Hi, everybody, and welcome to my life. I am SG Dad on YouTube. I am also the father of Spectrum Gamer ET, who you can find on YouTube. His name is Ethan Turner. Um, why am I making this video? Well, I believe I'm undiagnosed autism spectrum disorder, high functioning type of person. My son is diagnosed high functioning spectrum disorder. Very smart boy. Does have issues in class because he he's quite the fidgeter, quite the goof around kid. The kind of kid that back in the day they would say is he's just unruly. You can't do anything with him. He's unruly. He won't listen. So the kind of kid that back in the day would have dropped out of school, probably gone through depression, ended up on drugs, and just would have been lost in the system. But nowadays, thankfully, there is a diagnosis and some help. Now, I personally went through some struggles and went through a period of smoking a lot of weed and getting depression, and so I get it. Right now he's 6 and he's saying things, especially when we're not happy with him, saying things like, I hate my life, I wish I was dead, you'll be better off without me. If I wasn't born, you'd be happier. Real kind of grown up stuff for coming out of the mouth of a 6-year-old. And as a parent, it's really upsetting to hear. I've been crying a lot today, and I'm trying not to cry on the video. But yeah, it's been very upsetting. I'm really not sure what to do. My wife is kind of at the end of her tether with him. However, we did have a late night last night as well. And I find late nights really, for me, like my ability to cope, my ability to hold in my emotions and just get through a day, if I haven't slept, can be all over the show. I can cry at a commercial, I can cry at a song, just a thought, thinking about something that happened. The scene in Harry Potter where Hagrid tells him he's a wizard. If I'm not having a good day and I start thinking about that, I will cry. So if I was a method actor and I needed to cry, that would be what I would think about. Yeah, it's hard. Seeing him and thinking that he's going to have to go through the struggles that I went through growing up. But he has help. He has a diagnosis. And he goes to a program which was supposed to help him, which he hates. And I think he hates it because it highlights the differences of who he is to him. So he sees that because he's different, he's broken in some way. One thing we had an issue last night. It was bath night, and the rigidity of his thinking is he can't change or deviate from once something's in his head. It's kind of locked in, and it's really hard to redirect. So bath night, we have septic issues, so wasting water is really not an issue. Like, it is a big issue. It's not an option, is what I mean to say. So we heard him say, okay, I'll have a bath. So I ran a bath, like X amount of water in the bath. And then he comes in and he's like, that's not what I was thinking. And that's what he says. It's like, that's not what I was thinking. He has a thought or a direction in his head that his thought process is going. And so if it's different, it shows over. It's not happening. So we were fighting quite a lot, trying to persuade him. And that's one thing as a parent, there doesn't seem to be anybody that right now that we can have come in and help us in situations where things are so rigid. So if he's going down a route, we don't have a way of someone coming in and saying, okay, well, try this, try that. In the moment, people give you all this good advice like, oh, well, you don't want to be aggressive. My wife is very reactionary with her approach to Ethan. So if he puts a stance, she puts a stance, and it just goes like this, and they're like this at the end. They're just like hitting each other. And last night, because I was tired, I kind of went the same way. So we all kind of ended up in this big situation where I would either put my fist through a wall, which I've never done, or I just clench all my muscles, tighten up, and go, ah! And I did that right in front of Ethan because he frustrated me, and I said, I'm done. And I walked out of the bathroom, and Mum tagged me out and went in, and I could hear her like saying, we can't drain the water because of the septic. And so in the end, she said, we did it, and we drained the water. And we said, okay, well, Gran downstairs, she lives in the basement suite. She said she won't be able to flush her toilet now for a couple of days because we've put more water in the septic. So I think we were trying to instill in Ethan that there's a consequence for this action that we're having to do. And that really upset him. But his thinking is still, I want to shower. I want to shower. Like, so even though the bath, like we've changed our direction and we've told him the consequence of what we're going to do and he's going to get what he wants, he's still like, ugh. It's so hard and it's so exhausting. And I hate complaining and I hate going on about it because I being on the autism spectrum, you see parents with kids that have far more severe autism to the point that they cannot speak, they cannot form a sentence. And so for me to complain because my kid, he's smart, he's bright, he goes to school, he has lots of friends, the social aspect doesn't seem to be a real deal at the moment. It might be later on, and it was for me, and it still is. I'll go to somewhere that's a social environment, and I'll actually play, kind of introductions or conversations that I'm going to have, or what can I talk about that's going to be interesting to other people, and I'll rehearse these kind of little conversations in my head and things, and I try to rehearse them with a positive outcome, and people laughing at me and like laughing with me, because if I don't, I won't go. I'm far happier just staying here and doing things that I do in the home than going into a social environment. And Ethan, I think it's the same with Ethan. Once he's there, it's not a huge deal. He's learned enough skills from all the interventions and things he's gone through that it's not a huge deal. He can deal with daily life as it is at school at the moment. And the same with me. If I go somewhere, it's not a big deal. Once I'm there, I can pretty much get on with it. I've kind of wondered if I'm gonna do like a one-to-one meeting with somebody, and we've got a new pastor, and he wants to have coffee. I've been thinking, should I just open the conversation with, my son's on the autism spectrum. I think I am too. Makes it hard for social, interaction. I'm just putting this out there so that if I seem awkward or I don't know what to talk about, it's because I'm on the spectrum. Now, do I open with that as a conversation starter, or should I just try and get through it? And that's that's funny. Try and get through it. That's something I told Ethan about school last night, going to bed. He was really upset about the whole bath thing, and he said to me, tomorrow is a school day, and I really don't want to go because the teacher keeps thinking I'm bad. And she doesn't. He's disruptive, which is what it is. He disrupts the other kids who are trying to learn things, and he has a one-to-one person that helps him out in the class. She's there to help him and other kids in the class, but he requires a lot of help sometimes, but not all the time. Sometimes it's just he's fine, and there's other kids that are not even diagnosed on the spectrum that require more attention. She's kind of like a teacher's assistant, but she's trained as an intervention person. where was I going with this? Well, yeah, I'm not sure where I was going with this. He said to me last night going to school, he said, the teacher thinks I'm bad because I'm disruptive. And something about um, the way his mind is, he can't, he doesn't have much of an attention span, or even he feels that it's beneath him what he's doing. Um, because he's really smart, and so it's not beneath him. They're teaching him, words and math and stuff, and he's really good with his numbers and addition. But I also think he also fakes it to make it, and that's kind of part of my advice to him was just get through it. Your school days are gonna be tough. They were for me, but you find ways to just get through it, knuckle down, get the work done. He said he wants to be an astronaut. He wants to go into space. He has all these dreams and aspirations and things he wants to do. And I said, look, just get through it. Get through school. Get a good grade. Do what's required. Just listen to the teacher. Do what the teacher says. Do what's required. Mess around with your friends. Great. You need to have that social aspect. Mess around, have fun with your friends. But do it at the times allocated. So do it at break time. Do it, in the hallway when it's recess or when you're moving between classes or whatever. But if it's a class situation and you're supposed to be listening, disengage with your friends. Don't goof around. Don't make eye contact. Disengage with everyone around you. Teacher is your focus. Get through it. And that, I don't know if that seemed to hit home. And as soon as I said get through it, his eyes rolled and he almost went to sleep. He kind of woke himself up a little bit, but I don't know whether it kind of the information went in and it caused a kind of a reaction, a physical reaction where it hit home. I don't know. I'm hopeful that it's advice that's gonna stay with him, but you can say things to a kid that you think are really profound and prophetic, and the kid doesn't remember the next day. And then you can say things that are really like off the cuff, and the kid says, "You remember that time when you said this to me about this?" And you're like, as a parent, no, I really have no recollection of any of that. But it sticks with them, so you gotta watch what you say. I guess I just wanted to kind of put this out here that we're struggling right now. Ethan's struggling. He's being quite negative about his life, his existence. He feels that if he wasn't part of this family, we'd be happier. And there we go. And right now, I think my wife